reactionary in the title. He admitted to being a reactionary on his own stream.
Rip sauce, my bad.
Zasimbaji.
We're back, boys.
How am I being ridiculous when you literally lied and said I insulted you? Please no. Please
Red
no.
Pill's argument was that
personal attacks in the
being
chat.
a porn star is
If
not
sex
hard
and gender
work.
are actually two different things, someone please explain to me how pronouns refer to gender and not sex.
And,
Otherwise, I am happy to use pronouns to refer to sex
Johnny
instead
Wicked,
of gender,
you know,
since
brought
the
up the point
sex-gender
that you have to
distinction,
work out,
sex is
you have
objective,
to,
while gender is subjective.
kind of slave
That was
yourself
kind of word
a bit
salad,
more at the beginning of
but
a
I kind of get
porn
what you're
star
trying to
career than
say.
what you would, as
We
like
do
a
have male
programmer
and
or
female.
lawyer.
You do realize that. That's what I use. I don't use gender specific. I use female and they for myself. I don't identify as a man or a woman, but I do admit that biologically I am female. Do you see the distinction? Johnny Wicked, why do you continue to entertain that non-9-hour working out programmer?
Johnny was talking about how she's in the past
Zasimbaji, I
has
will never
worked
commit
9
personal
hours,
attacks and
worked
will
out
not
9
accept
hours
other
a day.
people making baseless attacks against me. Got you, dude. Fan-fucking-tastic. I am so glad to have all you guys here today. This is a good stream so far.
Yeah,
we are having
first fucking
impassioned
stream
conversation.
And
if anybody would like to join in, please just at me, and I will try to get to your comment as soon as possible.
Now she's up to a pretty consistent 33.
Kurdish God. Everyone has different levels of difficulty. If you're a greeter at Walmart, that's not the same as being a manager at Walmart. If you're taking the dick on camera a couple times a month, that's not the same as taking the dick on camera 4 times a day. If you are programming for 4 hours a day, that's not the same as programming for Google for 12 hours a day. If you're sitting at
collecting
home,
promo codes for KY
sitting
Jelly
on Reddit, not streaming for yourself, and then coming in a chat and being like, this streamer isn't talking about the specific thing I would like for them to. That's not the same as having a stream.
I'm back.
That's okay. Good, good, because I was just insulting people. Sorry.
That's okay.
Sitting on Reddit. All right.
Hey, debate me,
Dead
$1,000
cert. Hey, debate me.
prize
$1,000 prize.
school.
Hell yeah. As long as you're not the moderator, giving yourself the $1,000 prize automatically. Comrade Keck Googled for 12 hours one day.
What?
Subjected as trademark. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
My phone was going crazy. Okay. We're back with Red Pill Gaming. He's back. And we're talking about a lot of things today. We're talking about the concept of MGTOW. We're talking about the concept of hard work and the differences between hard work across many different spectrums of human experience. MGTOW is a meme, says Awesome Jawsome. MGTOW currently is a meme. Now, back in the 1970s, I don't think it was a meme. Back in the 1970s, it was truly revolutionary to be a male in Western society and to not base your personal wealth and growth around your ability to get and maintain a mate. You know? Like, you were suddenly allowed to, instead of getting married and supporting somebody for the rest of your life, you were suddenly allowed to go buy yourself a motorcycle and travel across the United States. MGTOW was truly important.
Have you been
at one
watching
point,
the debate on
but
Johnny
now it's a
Wicked
meme.
or Red Pill Gaming stream?
I'm the man. If we retire at 30, is that hard work? Depends on how hard you work to get there, I guess. You know? Gotta go, Zasimbaji. Thank you for being here. Have a good one. Yes, also, this is an English-only chat. Please, no.
You don't understand that That goop.
Please, no runes. No moon runes. No kanji. No katakana. No whatever Arabic is. I know that there's like a word for the script of Arabic, but I'm not sure what it is.
Sanskrit, I believe.
Alrighty. So
I'll just type it in the chat,
surprisingly, Red Pill Gaming, you are not MGTOW in the sense that you identify as a MGTOW.
That's Johnny Wicked stream.
But you are kind of MGTOW in that you believe... We already kind of talked about this, but that you believe that men and women can't be friends.
That's Red Pill.
Do you believe that
If you wanna
women
get, like, the
are
straight stream?
sexual creatures in the way that men are
I prefer
entirely
mine
sexual
because you get
creatures?
a third point of view and you can kind of chat without all the bullshit going on.
It's a really
but
good
you can
question,
have
actually.
You can see both streams at the same time.
Like,
without having
I
dual
could be
monitors,
persuaded
that sort of thing.
otherwise with evidence, but my guess would be...
Or I guess you can make an argument for it.
My guess would... Honestly... I really don't know, because, okay, so, like, women definitely do use sex for power. Like, that's absolutely undeniable. The question is, are they as sexual as men? Probably not. I think men probably have that drive more than women do. That's not to say that, there aren't a lot of women out there who also have high sexual drives. But if I had to guess, I would think that overall, men have that drive more than women.
Is that perception, or is that actuality?
What's your opinion?
Sauce?
My personal opinion. First of all, let's go over what MGTOWers believe, what modern MGTOWers on the internet who are actually incels undercover. They believe that things like honor, things like honesty, things like loyalty, those are specifically male qualities. And if you are female, you are only capable of seeking out a mate and then monkey branching, aka moving on to the next more desirable mate.
The mega hack guy.
Yeah, so branch swinging is real, but at the same time, I think that people like who say that women are only capable of whatever, like branch swinging. I think that these are men that are not sexually successful, and
I think part of the problem is they both generally agree on the MGTOW stance. They both relate to the branding, I guess, but they're not really like hard opponents or proponents for MGTOW. I think that's why he's coming across that way.
Thing, like when it comes to this gender stuff, I think that guys who say like all women this or women who say all guys that, I think in many situations you see that it actually it applies to both sexes.
Water Clock says male tends to be conservative and appreciative of concepts like honor. He also says all women are queen. Water Clock coming
That could be true, actually. That the honor thing could be true, and that isn't to say the women are dishonorable, but that could be true. Like that honor is a more important concept to men for some reason. I don't know why, but because like men like naturally have to lead. They have to lead and protect. Honor could be something that is more important to them. Just a guess. And once again, that isn't to say that women cannot be honorable. I just think that the concept of honor is more important to a male, probably because of biological reasons.
Probably because of biological reasons.
Right, because men have to lead and defend. So I think
women don't lead and don't defend. Probably because they're physically weaker.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like by nature, they cannot fulfill that role in the same way a male can. So
all right.
Like
so I'm
6'1",
and I'm 6'1", and what was my PR last time I went out? And I deadlift probably around 340. I lead people all the time. I run this chat. So what you're telling me is I'm not a leader?
No, I don't know how that was the conclusion that you drew.
You said women,
As a
and
generality.
I assume you mean females, because women can also be people with testosterone and penises, because trans women exist. But I assume you mean females, natural-born females.
Right, but once again, it's a generalization. Like, I'm not saying that there is. I didn't say there's not a woman on Earth who can lead. Like the CEO of my company is a woman, so and it's one of the largest companies in the world. So the idea that women can't lead is obviously not true. However, I think generally speaking, like there's a concept that describes this, but I'm afraid to use it because I know your chat is going to say, like, oh, he's a racist if I use this particular term that describes what I'm talking about.
Nice going.
But I have no choice, so
Yeah,
I will
I
say
think
it.
it's
The
a
bell
pretty weak
curve. Do
argument,
you know what the
too.
bell curve is?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, so like the bell curve dictates that
I
like
think a lot
men,
of the
generally
things
speaking,
she says
will be
are
leaders
just to
because
get
of certain
reaction,
qualities that they
some sense.
derive from nature. Like one of those qualities being
she's
physical
trying to build
strength.
this up, so she has to have,
And then
like,
a lot of the
an
things that
oppositional
leftists disagree with
take on everything
are
in some way
are
or
things that are
reaction.
derived
I think
from nature.
some of the stuff she says
and
is
physical strength
derived
actually
from
has a
that need.
lot to do with these things that leftists call social constructs.
Okay. So in the modern world, leadership is not based on physical strength. Leadership is based on your ability to be an intelligent person, be both introspective
Okay.
and extrospective. Your ability to see the big picture as well as
How's
make
that?
sure that all the minutiae
Maybe a
in
bit
your
more?
life
How's that
is
now?
taken care of. These are all things
that
that are
too loud?
generally, and I say generally, equated to
I did both.
the nature of a female. So,
So
Would
you're
you
willing
say-
you're willing to admit that women have natural traits, but you're not then also willing to admit that men have.
I said that they are ascribed to females. I said they are generally ascribed to females. I didn't say that women actually have that trait. I'm saying
So
that
you
the
disagree.
stereotype is that females have these traits.
Where do stereotypes come from?
Stereotypes come from, I don't know, where do stereotypes come from? Stereotypes come from a lot of
Propagated
different
perceptions
places. Like, do you want me
of
to
your
sit
own
here
reality.
and do
I
Well,
see
generally
this thing,
speaking,
then
where
I
do
tell
stereotypes
the
come
next
from?
person over.
generally
believe
speaking,
that is
stereotypes
the
come from
standard.
lies people tell about other people.
Not necessarily
Like,
lies.
like the idea,
Not
like the
necessarily
idea that
lies.
black people don't work hard. Like that's a lie that white people tell themselves because they don't want to admit that white people kept black people down.
I mean, some stereotypes definitely are
So
built
that's
on
a stereotype,
lies.
and that comes from
for
a lie
sure.
that people tell themselves. Women being weak and women not being
Time-tested mental
muscular
shortcuts.
or having the ability to do
Yeah,
things like
I mean, you could
Well, women are
develop a
deadlift
stereotype
340.
to benefit yourself, and
Deadlift
it could be a
340.
complete lie.
Like,
Or
Yeah, but
Johnny
this-
down the
this- okay,
street
so you
might
keep
have
doing this
seen
thing where,
a
like, you're
black
pointing to
person
exceptions
that
and you're
was
using it as
lazy
your
and said,
example.
"Okay,
Like,
well,
yeah,
I
is there a
believe
woman
that."
on deadlift 340?
Because I saw this
Absolutely,
one
but this is an
person
exception.
being lazy that
you need to stop pointing to exceptions and using those as
that
your
applies
examples.
to
I think
all
the
of this
argument-
I'm not
particular
saying that that's
section
an
of
exception.
people, and then he tells
It is an
Jim
exception.
down the
I know
road.
so many people-
Jim
I know
believes
so many
Johnny,
people
so
who are
then the
women who work
stereotype
out.
develops.
That doesn't mean anything, though. Like, I hate to tell you this, but that doesn't thing. If you're denying that men are physically stronger than women, we're not even in the same universe anymore. And like saying I know women who are strong, that doesn't matter. Like what matters is the data and science. And scientifically, men are physically superior to women. That doesn't mean like I feel like you take things like that personally though. Like it isn't personal. It's just
It's
the
not-
way it is.
okay.
Like
Calm,
if I say that
calm
if I
down
say
a
that
little
men,
bit, and
I
remember
think-
that we're in a debate, and I'm going to
What?
disagree with you. I'm not
Right, but I
taking
feel like
things
you're taking it
personally.
personally.
No, I'm not taking it personally. I'm giving you counter examples.
Okay.
Okay.
Poor anecdotes, though.
Now,
Like, no.
Men tend to be taller and
More
have more
muscular.
musculature than women. Naturally. However, it is a trend, a verifiable trend, for women to work out and to be able to do things like, I'll say it again, just because I think it's funny, deadlift 340. Now, women also tend to be, according to stereotypes, extremely mentally aware, where men stereotypically, supposedly, are not. And so, I will ask you this. If women...
I wrote, did you read about the
According to
transgender
stereotypes
that
that I
cracked a
assume you
lady's
ascribe
skull
to.
in the MMA the other day?
If women
True story.
tend to be more mentally aware than men, why are there more male leaders in things like companies where physical stature does not actually matter to your ability to do your job?
I would argue that physical
And this is not
stature
like
is a reason for
There's not like a trick question or anything here. I'm
not
really just
necessarily
asking you what you
hiring
think.
somebody for, but for
I
respecting
think there's a lot
somebody
of
more.
historical,
I think that's like
reasons
built
for that.
into
Like,
our
women obviously
whole
didn't have the same
persona as humans.
let's say, power and privilege that men did until what, the 1920s?
And I think that's why
I
it's
think they got the
offset,
right to vote in. So like,
among other
yeah.
reasons.
So I don't. Maybe I got
Like,
the wrong, but like obviously like that's a part
the
of it, right?
patriarchy
And also
obviously
women
has some
for many
level
years
of
until
effect
like
on it.
the
But I think there's
propaganda
like
campaign
social
began.
aspects
Women did not
to
have the same objective
stature
as men
and
did.
size.
Like,
The
men were supposed
propaganda
to.
campaign?
Yes.
What are you talking about right there?
I'm talking about so the propaganda campaign is basically the campaign of information that has convinced women that what they truly want is not to be a mother and have a family and have children, but really what they want to do is they want to go work for corporate America. And
Going into the Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson debate now.
You think that's propaganda?
Of course, because I think that if we listen to the prevailing message in society, if you're a woman, right, and you want to be a housewife and you want to have a family and you want to have kids, and you're basically considered you're a weak woman and you're basically you're letting the patriarchy dictate who you are. And if you really want to be a strong woman, what you need to do is you need to go to college for 4 years.
If you want to be part of this group of strong women, you can't possibly be a mother.
Have kids, because like,
you
if
can't
you
be a
have kids,
feminist
then,
and a mother, or
you know
a
what I'm saying?
stay-at-home mother
Like
at
this
the
is
same time.
like prevailing leftist ideology that if you want to be a housewife and you want to have children and you want to raise those children.
What I think is really funny is when you talk about what leftist ideology is and it directly conflates with what I as a leftist talk about with other leftists and what is available in the leftist media that I myself consume and what other people consume. That's what I find funny, and that's what I find discouraging, actually, about talking to you and other right-wing people, is that there is no leftist media that anyone with a right mind consumes that is telling women not to do literally whatever they want to do.
Right,
but
by saying do whatever you want to do, they're also
left-wing
pitching
ideology
like science and
motherhood or
and
discourages motherhood.
all these other things.
It neither
And it doesn't prop
encourages
up
nor discourages motherhood, because the prevailing leftist ideology
motherhood is
that
not
women
included
should be
in
allowed
those
to
things
do
that they're pitching.
whatever
though.
they
so it
want
is
to do.
by definition discouraging because it's not
Well, I think that women are being
inclusionary
told
of
that basically, like,
motherhood as
unless
a
they go get a
possibility of
bachelor's
the-
degree,
the
then
career and
they're
whatever.
like not.
Are you a woman?
No, but I see.
Are
what
you
the
a woman
messaging is.
and are you a woman and have you been told that as a woman?
No, but I see what the messaging is, and basically the
Because
message
the
is
only
you can't be
person who's
successful
ever
unless you get a career.
told, because the only people who have ever told me and my friends to go out and have babies are our grandparents, and our grandparents are not left-wing ideologists by any means.
Okay, well, generally speaking, I think if you look at, for example, in college. Like right now, we have more women in college than men. Why is this?
Excellent.
Is this because the desires of women have changed radically within the last 20 years, or has the messaging changed? And because the messaging has changed, the decisions, the objective has changed.
Do you know why women go to college?
Because they're told that if they don't get a career and if they don't make their own money, that
actually
Infidel,
most
are you
women
a
go to
woman?
college, or a
Right.
lot of the women that I know go to college so that they can get a good
like you
job
can't perceive the
and then
messaging
have
unless you have a
babies and
vagina.
support those
It's kind of
babies.
ridiculous.
Because a lot of women I know want babies, but they also want a degree.
I mean, I know that
glad to hear that.
society has
I would love
pitched
to be
me
wrong
as a
about
man
this.
to
You
go
are
to college.
wrong about this. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Right.
Is like no
They didn't
leftist
say anything
ideology that comes from common
you
sense.
could be a stay-at-home
That
dad.
comes from any
Right,
level
that's
of a right
completely
mind
excluded
is telling
from
women that they can't
possibility.
have babies and that they aren't strong, independent women if they have babies. The point of being intersectionally feminist is that you allow and encourage women to do whatever they want rather than telling them what they must do. Do you understand what I'm saying?
LA Free
for
Clinic
sure,
says,
for
is
sure.
there
I don't
really
think
the
that
is
in practice
that
that's how it
really the
plays out, but
message?
this is something I've
I
no
think it
evidence of
happens
other,
that
like, you know,
way
the
out of
messaging that I've
necessity.
seen, so
If
I
a large
can't
amount of
really
the population
push it much
don't
harder.
make a living
The message
wage,
that you see and
it's going
interpret
to take
as a
two
person
ages,
who
no matter
is
what
not
any
female
social
and who
constructs,
is not
cultural norms are
leftist and who
saying.
does
Yeah,
not
see,
regularly
so
consume
so I
leftist
because
media.
I don't like that car though because you're not a man and we're debating MGTOW. Did I ever say, oh, well, you're not a man, so you can't debate?
right.
That's
I
really not.
no, I said you don't have any evidence that comes from a
No, you
realistic
said you're not a
standpoint.
woman.
You're talking
You're
about
not a
what
woman,
women are told,
and so
and then you're
you've
saying,
never been told this thing.
well, I don't really know this,
I
but
can see the
think
perception
that women
of
are being
culture.
told this.
That's
And
that's
then
how
give
I
you
know you're being told.
directly contradictory evidence.
LA Free
Well,
Clinic
so how do you
brings
explain-
up an
how do you explain,
interesting
like,
point,
this radical
though.
change that has occurred within the last
Is it
20 years
possible
in terms
that
of
Women are
maybe-
allowed to go to college now, my dear.
women have been allowed to go to college for the last 50 years. What's happened so
You
recently?
know, you can
that-
see evidence
that, like, the numbers
of
have
minimum
completely
wage not rising,
flipped.
the average
And by the way,
wage.
Well,
I have a
here's
problem with
here's
this.
the difference.
Not
here's
raising.
the difference. Actually,
Did
that's
we,
a really good question. Because you
did we
see,
substitute
my
higher
granny
wages
didn't
across
go
the
to
board
college.
for
Well, she went to college
more
for about
people in
a
the
year, and then
workforce?
she got married and got pregnant.
Did they double dip?
The difference is generational.
Or
The
not
difference is my
substitute. Did
granny
we
was
compile
of the
those
first
two things?
generation that was technically allowed to go to college. However, the messaging and the actual propaganda that women were subjected to, the actual newsletters and people coming up to colleges and throwing rocks at women and shit like that who were going to college, that
never
was
seen
still
that.
happening. So when that propaganda that was directly telling people you must be a mother and you must stay out of college because people who go to college, women who go to college are eggheads and other derogatory terms and shit like that.
I think Awesome
Or
Johnson
if you
makes
do
it
go to college, you have to get your
good point.
MRS.
He said those
you know
on the
what that
right
is?
just want women to be property.
When people
they're
say that
in
you
home,
go to college to get your
make
MRS, that
property.
means that you go to college with the specific
I think that's probably the
goal of
perception.
finding a husband.
I think that's probably the perception, but I don't
So-
think that's actually what they're saying
So
from that
that
point
is
of view.
what I would give an
Infidel
example of actual
31,
propaganda.
when
Actual
did that
propaganda telling
happen?
women
Throwing
to
rocks
do
at
one
women?
certain thing over another.
I mean, I'm
and that is
pretty
directly
sure
relating
it
with the
may
propaganda
have
that you're saying
happened.
exists.
I haven't seen
Now,
it
in the last
I would
20
agree
years,
with you.
in the last
within
20
popular
years,
media, though.
females
That's why I'm
have
asking.
been born and grown up who have not been exposed to that propaganda. They see everyone else around them going to college and getting good jobs, and guess what? We want to go to college and get good jobs too. That sounds great. If you got a good job, you can do whatever you want. You can have kids, you can not have kids, you can travel, you can do whatever.
Yeah, and I don't think he's advocating for you
But
not going to
the
college.
propaganda that
I think he's
exists towards
advocating
women
against the message that the only
existed
option for women
and was
in these
primarily geared
days
toward getting them not
is to go to college and become,
Right, which
these
I actually
these
do agree with,
breadwinners.
but I just think that the propaganda
That
has
is
changed, and it's just like,
what
it's
has
just went in a
happened.
complete
There has to
opposite
be
direction. Like,
somebody,
you
a
take it somewhere in the middle.
breadwinner. There
My
has to be
personal
somebody
belief is
who's
that it's gone in
taking
the
care of the
complete
family. If you want to
opposite
have this
direction.
American
But
dream
as I said, I
family,
can't,
like
pull
from the
up a
50s and
study
so on and so forth.
that-
And maybe
that,
that's
you know, documents
why
this
our
concretely.
society is kind of falling
So
apart,
I
or
really,
perceivably.
can't push it much harder.
When you say to both sexes that
it is what I see.
the
but
only
obviously
option
that's not going to hold up.
that
like,
you have
for
is to
you.
go to college
So I
or
really
be the
can't
breadwinner,
push it much harder.
you're
Brooksy,
leaving
we
the
have been
other
on for 2
portion,
hours and
the other
15 minutes. Thank
portion
you
of
for
the
doing
art
that
or
time.
the
Thank
family
you so
dynamic
much.
out of the equation.
To Space Cobbler and your sentiment, encouraging women not to work. Women were, quote, so much happier without the stress of having to work. Yes, absolutely. Women were much happier without the ability to choose what they wanted to do and make their own money and support their own children and vote. That
Well,
probably
that
made
I-
us all
that I've
really
heard,
happy.
actually.
That's why women stood up and, went to jail in order to have the right to vote. That's probably why. Huh.
That was.
They were probably
political.
doing it. All those poor women were probably doing it just because, I don't know, they really wanted to go to jail. Because being in jail is
protesters.
easy too, right? Being in jail is easy because you get 3 square meals a day.
Where are we going with this
Women
argument?
have the right to vote because
we
men,
need
there was a group of men
more
who
women
knew that they
in
stood
the
to benefit by
carpentry
giving women the right
industry.
to vote. Now, that's not me arguing that women should not have the right to vote, but this is me explaining that like all these historical events
I
that
guess
like leftists buy
perceivably
wholesale and like
from-
think that they're like
from
these
my,
Disney stories where like women rose up
my
and they fought for their
personal
right to
perception,
vote.
I would say
these
that
these are political actors.
women are
okay? We have
typically,
political actors today.
I wouldn't
We've
say
had them back then. A
better
great example of this
artists,
is
but
Susan B. Anthony. A lot of
because
people
it's so
think that
hard
Susan
to
B. Anthony
like
was just like this random black woman who was
compare
gonna stand. No,
artists,
Susan B.
right?
Anthony
You
was
can't
a
say this
political
painting is
actor. There's
necessarily better
evidence
than
of
this
if
one.
you want, I can
But
find
I
it
would
for you.
say
But
that
basically,
women
she was
in our
being
current
used
society are
as a
probably
pawn
more
for whatever
predisposed
I don't know which party it
for
was. That they say it was a party switch. Whatever, it doesn't matter. She
the
was being
arts,
used as a pawn
and if you
for a
consider
political
carpentry
party.
and art,
Okay,
I
so
would say
women were
that that's
given the right to
probably
vote,
accurate.
not because men were doing what was right. It was because they knew that they could benefit from giving this. Because okay, so if I give you the right to vote, who are you going to vote for? You're going to vote for the person who gave you the right to vote.
So women were given the right to vote out of not the goodness of men's heart, but
LA
because
Free
they were
Clinic,
being
yep,
used.
you're making my point
Women
for me.
didn't
Most
refuse to go to work.
couples
Women
married,
didn't refuse
people would choose to
do
have
their
one
daily
person
jobs.
stay at home
Women
to take
didn't
care of the kids
actively
full time.
leave their
There's no
husbands and
doubt
actively
doubt
go to
that is
jail.
something that is very beneficial to
all
the
just
kids around the
men
world
up and
and
deciding
future
that women could
generations.
vote.
We can add that to the
Is that
argument
what
as
you're
well.
saying?
Happened, if any of those things happened, they happened because men allowed it to happen. This was the Wild West back then.
Really?
okay?
Really? So
Absolutely.
So women didn't get beat by their husbands because women got beat by their husbands.
That's a totally different thing. What do you? How does that
Women
even
got
relate?
beaten by their husbands because they refused to do their chores and they refused to do their womanly work and they refused to not sit in the house, or they refused to sit in the house. Women went out of their houses, women went out and protested, women went out and refused to do their work.
Okay. So I hear you. Those things happen. Like what I'm saying is the catalyst is always artificial. Like historically, when we look at the catalyst, when we look at what started these movements, right? And then what happens is people like they see what happened, and then it becomes like a movement, and then people legitimately engage in these rebellious behaviors. Right, but like these catalysts are just totally artificial, and then these are the ones they teach you about in history class. They never mention the fact that Susan B. Anthony was a paid political operative. They never, for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason they leave that detail out. So like I'm not saying that things didn't actually like legitimate rebellion didn't come out of all of these things, but the initial action that caused it all. These things occurred because there was political power to be gained, and we're seeing the same thing. This has happened throughout human history, and it's happening today. Like, look at the Democratic Party strategy. It's to divide and conquer.
Right.
Republicans do this too, by the way. They do it too, but Democrats are the ones who have made the entire political process about race,
Oh, I
minority
see.
groups.
So this is all going back to your idea that everything is a conspiracy and nothing is organic, made by
When you
human
can seize
people
power
who
by
actually
doing
want to make
this
change.
thing,
This is
if
all
you can
going back to
recognize
your
that
overall
theory,
conspiracy
it's likely that people in power are
nothing
going to
happens
exercise that
unless it
theory
is
to actually make change,
artificially
gain power, so on and so forth. It
programmed
makes sense.
by the people who are
Might not
quote-unquote
be
in
everyone,
charge.
but it definitely
Absolutely,
makes sense.
because why would they do this if there was nothing to gain? I mean, these people are the worst human beings on earth. Like, if you're a politician, you are a garbage human being. Okay, these people, I know, like this is the thing. Like you. Politicians don't believe a word they say. They know what to say because they know what the populace will believe. They know that the general population is completely retarded. So they know that, like, great example of this is when Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren say that Amazon doesn't pay any taxes. They know this is a lie. They know that
They
this
don't
is
pay
a lie.
any federal
But why did they say it?
taxes.
Because
The argument
there
is
is political power
that,
to be gained by convincing
and
their voters
the
that
reason
this lie
why
is in fact the
they
truth.
don't pay any taxes
And
is
to be
because
fair, I'll
they're
give you an
taking
example with
a
Donald Trump. When we
loss
talk about illegal
during the
immigrants,
year
right? What does
by
Donald Trump do
creating
when he talks about illegal
infrastructure for
immigrants? He talks
their
about the drugs
buildings.
and the crime. Now,
That's not a
drugs and
valid
crime
argument
are
because
a
it doesn't
problem
turn
with
into
illegal immigrants,
U.S.
but it is
property necessarily.
Such,
it's still their
so
property.
minuscule
So,
of a problem that, in my
I don't know.
opinion,
They will
it's
eventually
barely
pay
worth
taxes.
mentioning. Like, there are other arguments that you can
Potentially,
make
if there's
against
not
illegal
loopholes for
immigration
them.
that don't involve drugs and crime. However, as a politician, he can't make those arguments because those arguments would be perceived as racist by the media.
One moment, please. Here. Alrighty. Sorry, I had to answer a Facebook message that was very important. Alrighty. White Fat, by the way, you are allowed to speak to me directly and at me. You are in my chat, after all. I can see you.
What?
Like, do you think our government is not capable of corruption?
Why would I think that?
Well, because, like, you seem like you're calling this a conspiracy theory. Like, you're saying, like, oh no, like, these people, they would never do these things. Like governments.
The C word
are
has been uttered.
corrupt.
Infidel.
This is existed since the beginning of time. Corruption
corporate?
in governments, and it's all about political strategy and how one party
Raven
will gain power over
TTW,
the
by
other
the
party.
way.
Here's the deal. What were
Raven
what were
TTW
men going to
BTW.
do
We're not
if they
taking Discord
refused to give
call-ins
women
right at
the
the
right to vote?
moment.
All these women who were
After
leaving
the
their
debate
houses,
is in,
who were
we'll do
writing
that.
all
We
these
might
letters
join
to
in
their
with
congressmen,
either
et cetera,
Johnny
et cetera,
Wicked's
trying to
or
convince
Red
them
Pill
of giving
Gaming's
them a
Discord.
right to
I'm
vote,
active in
et cetera, et
both.
cetera.
Conspiracy.
All of these women who
Okay,
were refusing
gotcha.
to do the things that they were
After
supposed to
the
do
debate, I'll take your call in and we
order
can talk
to
about what we've seen
protest
so far.
for the right to vote, what were men going to do instead? Were they going to enslave the women?
No, but this was a reaction to the catalyst. So as I said, like the catalyst was completely artificial. But then what does the catalyst do? It drives people to take real action. Like they plant the seed, right? Like the corrupt people at top, the corrupt politicians, they plant the seed. They make a totally fake and staged event look like, this act of, this brave woman stuff. It's not even possible.
Raven,
like, if men have all the power,
buddy.
it wouldn't even be allowed. If it happened, it's because men allowed it to happen through artificial means. And then once that catalyst took place, then you saw and then it's a numbers game. And now it's like, okay, that now
Unfortunately,
they're
I
forced
cannot
to
have
respond
that
because now
shit
there is
in
a
chat.
sizable amount of women who are indeed, rising up, rebelling because they were
So women are
inspired.
rising up and rebelling
No,
because
I don't mean that in a
because
negative way.
men told them to rise up and rebel?
Because there was a group of men who wanted that to happen because they knew that they would benefit politically if that happened. Because
So
now
women had not been already. So you are denying the objective fact that women had actually been fighting for the right to vote for at least
So
100
here's the
years
thing.
prior.
What he's saying, he's not
No,
saying
I'm
that
just saying
women
that,
did not actually
that
want the right to
reason-
vote.
Ultimately, the reason why women, even if we talk about if we talk about even slaves, right? Like it's all exactly
Or
the same.
that the things that
Right, like
women
when
were
the
doing in the
party-
suffrage movement didn't have an effect on men. But ultimately, we also need to factor
there was
in
a political
the
party
fact
that saw that they can activate a voter population that was previously inaccessible, right?
yes,
That's
exactly
the women of
what I was
America.
going to say.
And they said, you know what? let's do this. Like this is, and we could sell it as oh yeah, we're just doing what's right. Do you think that the men back then, like these patriarchs, like the people who created the patriarchy, right? Do you really think that this is what they thought and felt? Even look at today. Like we look at Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton. Do you think these people give a goddamn shit about illegal immigrants?
Yes.
Oh my god.
But for what purpose? Everyone does something for their own purpose. I'm not streaming for free. I'm streaming because I enjoy it, and potentially it might generate some sort of revenue for me, and potentially I might get some sort of like
Democratic voters
capability to speak in these.
That is the reason why Democrats want amnesty.
Upper echelon conversations, right?
To the constituency, to the Democratic base, they sell them that they're doing it for virtuous reasons. Right, and you want to be virtuous, and so do all your friends. So they gobble it up. Do you think Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi? Do you think they like? Well, you said they do.
I think virtue exists.
You are buying
with most people, but not if you're a politician, because by the definition, you're trying to alter people's name.
This is not exactly. I know it sounds maybe conspiratorial to you when like
alter people's opinions.
Your entire life is essentially a complete lie, but this is what's going on, and it makes sense too.
I'm literally losing viewers because you are sounding like I'm so sorry to say this to you, my dude, because I don't mean to, but frankly, you sound like you are denying.
You're losing viewers, but he's gaining them. Okay.
That was done over the course of literally hundreds of years.
I don't know, dude.
Just the suffering
I understand her
that people
argument.
went
I understand
through in
my
order
argument.
to get black people
His
and
argument.
women the right to vote. You are denying all of that because you believe that Hillary Clinton doesn't care about immigrants. Like, I'm literally losing viewers. No, Space Cobbler, can you count? Can you count? I'm sorry, Space Cobbler 1 can't count. You need to go back to school, my friend. Get yourself some numbers. Get yourself them little blocks. Them little blocks that people like stick together and they make 10, and then you put them together and they make 100 square. Get those. And then go count. Oof.
Yeah. Oof.
All right. Talking about I can't count. God damn it. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little bit woozy. Do you ever get like stream fatigue? Because after about 2 hours, I get this extreme like buzzing in my head where it's like
I hit about 3 hours, then I need to start drinking,
talking,
and then the
and
stream
streaming
turns a little bit more interesting
for over 2 hours, and it just starts to get to me, and I go a little.
I just can't talk as much as these.
I do usually not after 2 hours, but also this is where caffeine is crucial.
Oh God, you're right. I don't have any coffee. Can you hold down the fort for a minute while I go make coffee?
Absolutely.
This is getting weirder by the second.
We'll be right back.
Cool.
Yeah. So what do you think,
chat?
Infidel?
How's everybody doing? I'm speaking to my chat. I can't see what people are saying in Johnny Wicked's chat. Hope everybody's enjoying this debate so far. It's definitely definitely been a good one. Yeah, I mean, you know what it is? It's like nobody wants to believe that their entire life is a lie, essentially. And like it's so much better to like believe the Disney World version of events, you know, where like, yeah, women rose up, or like black people like rose up and they said, we're not going to take this anymore. Like, it sounds nice, it sounds wonderful, but like, hello, these people I hate, like, I'm sorry to shatter your entire worldview, but these people are scumbags. Like, Hillary Clinton is not a good person. Nancy Pelosi is not a good person. And it's Republicans too, by the way. It's not just Democrats, okay? These are not good people. They just do and say whatever they need to say to get into office. And this is why, you know, you could find footage of basically any politician saying the complete opposite, you know, something completely opposite to what they're saying today. All right, so I'm getting some ats. Mick wants an invite.
Part of the reason why I like Bernie so
much.
much. He's always stuck to his guns and said, like, this is what I believe in, and this is what I'm going to believe in
one of my mods,
until
please
the
give
end of
Mick an invite to the Discord.
Infidel, I didn't watch the
Brooksy
debate in its entirety, but the last half
right,
hour
like
or
that,
so,
that's the thing, Brooksy.
she
So like
really made poor
when
arguments,
she said
like,
that the numbers are
taking things
fluctuating, I think it's
personally.
like that's what's happening.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
people are just going
I
back
think
and
you need
forth.
to
So I don't think people are
stick
like leaving her
with
stream.
like facts, and
I mean, I
like,
think this is probably interesting content.
or she
Even
needs
people
to stick with
are,
more
are
facts
totally
than that.
outraged by what I'm saying.
I mean, you can
This is really
talk,
good content.
you can
I don't know,
talk
maybe I'm
theory
wrong,
definitely, but
but-
it can't be based on like anecdotal evidence. Definitely not.
Doghouse says, please ask her why the left wants to lower the voting. Exact. It's fucking. This is like, like, to me, it's like, you know, ignorance is bliss, right? Like. Ugh. Trust me. I wish, and I'm not calling her ignorant, by the way. I wish that I could have, like, you know, bought all of these lies. It would make life a whole lot easier. You know, 'cause, like once you see behind the curtain, it changes everything, right? That's like why they call it being red pilled, because you now see reality as it is.
Or you see reality as someone has constructed it because they are, what's the word? Conspiratorial? No. No, what's the word when you
That's
think
a perfect
everything's
anecdote.
conspiratorial? I
I
called
run
you
a
it
chat,
yesterday.
therefore I'm a leader.
Skeptic, but there's probably
Sure,
no
I
word
guess
to
you
it.
can
No.
qualify yourself as a leader.
So here's the thing,
in
right?
a
So
way,
like,
but it's not
so
the
like,
same,
where
the
does
same
my
thing as saying,
ideology
like,
come from?
I'm the
It
leader
doesn't
of
come
the
from the
free
media.
world, right?
It doesn't come from the school system. It doesn't come from social media. So like, the thing is if my ideology, like, you know, if you're going to claim that my ideology comes from some nefarious source, what is that source?
Well, my ideology
I don't know.
comes from being logical and talking to people and coming to conclusions that I think are reasonable.
But a lot of the
So-
people.
He asked, what is the
So,
source
Why are you
of his
saying that I'm
conspiracy theories?
having
And
any
that makes
lesser of
his
an
point
ideology than you?
precisely.
If neither of us get our ideology from some sort of conspiratorial source?
Oh, is the word paranoid? Someone in my chat is.
Paranoid, there we go, yep.
So ask that question again, because I heard it, but then I immediately.
So why is my ideology, if my ideology comes from myself, it comes from making decisions for myself, why is it that my ideology is any more,
You're throwing out
is
external
any
sources,
lesser than
though.
yours?
Okay, so like if we look at, you know, teachers and professors, I think it's like 70 to 80% of teachers and professors are left of center, right? This is why a majority of young adults and teenagers vote Democrat, because when you go through a machine like that, how could you come out as anything other than exactly? See, the thing is, when you're a young person, you don't know anything about, I'm not saying you, when you're any young person, when you're a young person, you don't know anything about the world other than what figures of authority tell you, right? So when you're a young person, a teacher is like a god to you. Like a teacher is like a god who's like the arbiter of truth. So you are absorbing this information without even the concept of bias. You don't even know what bias is. This is a teacher, right? And we look up to teachers, we idolize them, right? So whatever they tell us, it's like gospel. We don't even think to question it. And then imagine going through that entire machine, your entire life. Now you're 21, right? Now you're a young adult, right? Liberalism, socialism, communism. This is common sense to you now. And anything other than that is totally insane because you went through the machine.
Unless the machine teaches you to think for yourself and to ask
It
questions.
doesn't.
And to ask
That's
questions.
rich. That's rich.
I'm
Try
not
that.
sure,
that's where
I'm
the
not
major
sure what kind of
disconnect
school you went
is.
to, but I went to a
If you
regular
can't
public
believe
school
that
where
there is some sort of
teachers
implicit
were
bias in
teaching out of
media, in
textbooks,
teaching, in,
and
you know,
at
all
the end of the
you
day,
know,
they said, now some of the stuff in this
if
textbook
there wasn't
is kinda,
bias,
kinda
we
wonky
wouldn't even
'cause
bother with voting.
It was written a long time ago
right?
because we were
Or not
poor. We went to
bias,
public
like,
school. We didn't
a
have
difference
up-to-date
in
textbooks.
opinion. And if that
And
didn't impact our
they
daily
said,
life,
man,
why would we even
in order to
bother with
have real
voting?
opinions, you gotta think for yourself. You gotta talk to people. You gotta talk to people of different ideologies. You gotta decide what's right for yourself. And then I grew up. I went to about 1 or 2 semesters of college because that's all it took for me to have some sort of family problem and have to leave. And I went through the rest of my young adult life up to, it's been about 5 years now since the last time I went to any lengthy period of college. And I've just been reading books and talking to people who are left-wing, talking to people who are right-wing, and making decisions for myself. I went through the machine just like everybody else did, but somehow me and all my friends and most of the people that I talk to come out perfectly logical and reasonable and can be spoken to in a way that seems pretty socially liberal. Like, a lot of people seem very socially liberal, not because they were told to be socially liberal, but because they... By whom?
By, like, literally everything surrounding them, you know, like, so with
so
young
all
people
the all the things where we grew up with gay people bad and like all of that, just you're just ignoring that.
No, that was propaganda too. That was like, that's the thing. It's like you see one side of it, but you don't see the other side.
One side of what?
Of like the propaganda, like
see the
yeah,
right
for sure.
wing
So, like, gay
propaganda,
people
but you
bad,
don't
like, that
see
is
the left
right-wing propaganda. I don't think it. We're extremely reducing what the right-wing argument is. But I'll just for the sake of argument, like that is right-wing propaganda. The thing about right-wing propaganda isn't that it doesn't exist. It's that right-wingers, let's say, have so little control over these influential institutions that it isn't the problem at hand. Like the battle we're fighting here isn't against right-wing propaganda. It exists. Fox News, for example, that is right-wing propaganda. I imagine that Fox News colludes with the RNC the same way the rest of the media colludes with the DNC. But the problem is there's Fox News, which is, you know, right-wing mainstream news, and then there's ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC. Every other outlet leans left, right? So like, that's the issue. Isn't that right-wing propaganda doesn't exist? It's that it doesn't exist nearly to the same degree. It doesn't exist to the same degree in education, social media, Hollywood. And the message that we get as young people is that there is something to be gained in virtue.
Seal 2004, thank you so much for being here and being an active member of the chat. I really appreciate it. So, what are we gonna talk about next? Because I can't argue with like
I wonder when it
shadow
became virtuous to be a leftist.
Like, there's no logical
That's the
argument
default
there.
good side for some
So
people.
I've gotta
well,
change
the thing
topic.
is
I'm
that
sorry.
That's fine.
As much as I would like to convince you that women getting the right to
the
vote
left
wasn't
is
a shadow
latched onto
conspiracy
these
government,
social issues
like,
and painted
I would
everything
love to
as like
convince
a
you of
black
that,
and
but
white.
I don't
This is
know
good.
how,
This is
because
bad.
I've
And you
been
could
using
you could
logic
argue
and
for
historical
that. For
facts
example, like
up until this
gay
point.
rights. For example,
Thank you so much for the follow.
You could.
That's
you could
fine.
see that from the
we
point of
definitely can change the
inclusion,
topic.
right?
I would just like,
and therefore, a
you know,
good
like
thing.
yesterday when you were talking to Chris Ventura,
so there's
you had asked him if
that element that
if
really
the
paints them
WikiLeaks
as,
were
as
real.
good
Like
people.
the
But this,
WikiLeaks
like,
are absolutely
subversion and
real. If you
corporatism
want
and so on and so
documented,
forth,
totally,
whether
no
it
one
be
disputes this.
widespread or
You want
not, the
documented
fact is that it
evidence
exists on
of,
both sides.
Government corruption,
And
government collusion with the
that
media.
points me
It's
to
out there.
believe that these
Like,
virtuous
I can give you
acts,
the link.
that
It exists, and if you want to see it,
perceivable
you know,
virtuous
you can. If you don't want
acts
to, that's
were
fine
done
too.
for
But you know,
unvirtuous reasons.
the evidence
right?
exists.
The evidence exists questionably.
No, because like I said, a major component of the Russian collusion claims had to do with the releasing of the WikiLeaks emails. Like that's specifically why Roger Stone was arrested. It had to do with his contact with Julian Assange's team in connection with the release of the WikiLeaks dump. So tell me, why was there real life consequences if this didn't happen, if these things didn't exist?
I don't know. Maybe there's a conspiracy there too. The problem, my friend, with basing a lot of your ideas and a lot of your ideology on the idea that there is a grand conspiracy running your life, is that it can always go up a level. it's like Inception. It can always go up one more level of conspiracy. Oh, well, that's what they want you to think. Oh, well, that's what they want you to think that you're thinking. It never ends because
10D chess
there's
is what
simply
she's talking
no
about.
good, hard
And that's
evidence.
actually, I believe it's going
Everything
on.
people believe is based on political narratives. The reason why these, because somebody stands to benefit from you believing.
And going back
this
to my previous point, you could also say the same thing for the
fabricated
right
exaggeration
wing.
of reality. So,
sort
for
of
example,
latched
like
onto this
when we
Christian
talk about
identity
racism,
thing.
right? Like, does racism exist
Whether
in
or not
America?
there's
Yes.
super
Does it exist
Christians
on
or
every
not,
other country on Earth? Yes.
that may be a
But the thing
virtuous
is
cause
what the Democratic Party
in
wants
some
to
people's
do
minds,
is the Democratic Party
but it's
wants
not
to convince
being
you
done
and
for
other Democratic voters
virtuous
that racism in
reasons.
America, it's worse than it's ever been. Why do they want to convince you of that? Because they want you to vote Democrat. Like, the thing is if you don't believe me, fine, but why couldn't this be possible to you?
I have never experienced any sort of Democratic person saying that racism is worse than it's ever been. And do you know why I don't believe that racism is worse than it's ever been? Because there aren't people there aren't people
in
burning
chains?
crosses in black people's front lawns on a regular basis in my local vicinity.
I don't believe that that's something that she
Like-
actually
So,
witnessed.
like,
do you think
one of the-
racism,
I
do you
think
that
that points to the
do you think
the
that
media
racism is
thing again,
better now or worse now than it was in the past?
Better or worse?
Do you think there's less racism now than there used to be?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, now think about the terms Nazi, fascist, racist, white nationalist, white supremacist. Do you think these words have increased in usage or decreased in usage?
increased.
I think specifically
Trump
white nationalist has increased.
Okay, from my
I can say fascist has been around for an extremely long period. Where is that goddamn book? I can't find it.
I guess I wasn't really intertwined
Fascist
in
has been in
this
use for at least the past 150 years, but
YouTube
especially
and
the last
like
100 years.
alternative media
What were the
scene
other two?
back when like Obama
racist, Nazi, fascist.
Racist and Nazi. Nazi
was elected.
gonna
But
be
I
a poor
feel
example if you're
like-
trying to make a point there about how it's being used more often, because of course the term Nazi has been around for the past 100 years.
That's not a good argument.
Right. but I would
Is it
argue-
prevalent in
I would
media?
argue that the word Nazi is used more today than in World War II.
I wouldn't argue that. Not a good idea.
Go on Twitter on any given day, type Nazi into the search bar, and let me know how many hits you get.
Let me know how many hits you got on Twitter in 1970 when Twitter didn't exist.
True.
Right, obviously, like, we can't know for sure, but my
There we go. Then why are
would
you?
be-
Then
I
why
think
are
there's
you,
more
like, putting the burden
exposure
of proof on yourself when
to
you don't
it,
have the proof?
potentially.
Like that's not very smart.
Because the point I'm making, the argument I'm making is that as racism has decreased, the usage of these words in America, obviously I cannot prove this, but as any Trump supporter, I think would agree with this statement. So you're not a Trump supporter. You're not called these things every single day. You don't go on Reddit and read every single day how you are a racist, a fascist. Like if you look anywhere on social media and you look at the political conversation, I can tell you that these people are calling us fascists, Nazis, white nationalists all over the place every single day. Okay, so I would wager that the usage of these words has increased as actual racism has decreased. And that's because, and the greater point is because there is a political reason for that. Because if the Democratic Party can convince people that, racism, white supremacy, the patriarchy, white nationalism, fascism is increasing, right? What's that going to do? That's going to drive people to their party. They're going to vote for the guys who are going to make fascism go away. Despite the fact that fascism does not exist anywhere in America. Donald Trump is called a fascist, like regularly by people on the left. I'm called a Nazi regularly by people on the left.
Now, fascist is authoritarian, correct?
Yes,
Would you agree that Donald Trump is authoritarian, right?
absolutely not.
You think he's libertarian, right?
I think he's closer to libertarian than authoritarian by a mile.
Why is that?
I mean, if you were to judge him policy by policy, it doesn't seem to me like he's this right president. He seems a lot closer to like.
He's in support of the military. He's in support of populism. He's in support of the country being literally physically shut off from other countries.
I don't think that's true.
A wall is a literal physical shut off from other countries.
Well,
that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant in a different way, but also he wants to secure the border. I don't think that's like. So like 5-10 years ago, Barack Obama said the same thing. Chuck Schumer said the same thing. So like this only became a right-wing policy.
Trump's
when
been
Donald
cutting
Trump
regulations, not increasing them, which is
like there's video evidence of Barack Obama saying like things that it would sound like he got his script from Donald Trump. But this is all just political narratives
and
that
I'm
drive
really
people
important.
to one party over
Trump
the other.
ignoring Congress,
back then when the Democrats
constitutional
were
right
benefit
to
from
conduct
it, they
oversight
said, yeah, we need a wall.
by telling
Now
his staff to
Donald Trump is the
ignore
president.
subpoenas.
How could they
that
get
is
people to vote for them over
authoritarian,
Donald Trump? By calling the wall racist. And if you don't want to be a racist, who are you going to vote for? You're going to vote for the other guy.
I would say that
but
Trump is more authoritarian than.
But I don't accept the narrative because I know it's not true. Because I know who I am. I know who my fellow Trump supporters are. And there's some bad seeds out there. There's some legitimately racist, bad seeds out there. But the same could be said about people on the. I mean, there's people who are openly communist, like in your Discord.
Already.
Pocahontas, I believe we should secure the border just as we've effectively done in other countries.
Movement or regime
effectively
such as that of
seen
the
in other
fascisti
countries.
that exalts nation and often race above the individual, and that stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation, and forcible suppression of opposition. Alright, so he's definitely for forcible suppression of opposition. He has proven that 1,000 times whenever he tells people that he wants protesters in the crowd to be overtaken physically.
No,
I would
those
say
are dissidents.
That is
though.
totally false.
You're saying that I can't pull up a
bottles.
video right now of him telling his crowd at least one.
Back in my day, he would have left in a
political
stretcher. That's what
rallies
she's referring to.
Grab and overtake physically a protester.
No, that's not what he said.
Because I'm about to pull it up.
Lie. If you want, I could give you the context on that. What he was saying is he telling the people at his rallies assaulted by paid protesters, he was telling them to defend themselves. That is the true context of that video. Yes,
he
I know.
didn't say defend themselves, and it was one protester.
No, it absolutely was not one protester. There was people who.
I like LA Free Clinic.
There was literally people who had infiltrated.
Good points all day. We need to subsidize Silicon Valley and have them create better ways to determine which immigrants are coming here for the right reasons, willing to work, morally good, going to contribute and acclimate.
Right,
I know what I see on video.
Like an AI model, I suppose.
Cause and effect. The mainstream media shows you effect. They don't show you cause. So like Covington Catholic hits, for example, right? They showed you the effect, but they didn't show you the cause.
They didn't show me shit because I just told you I don't care because nobody died. I told you that yesterday.
But that's
you can't just say I don't care to an argument.
Race war. That is
really
very dangerous. Yeah,
you think that 16% of people in a country where it's pretty damn hard for a black person to get a gun, frankly. You think
that
isn't
true at all. But go ahead.
Well, yeah, black people tend to be. Would you say that it's true that black people tend to be poorer than white people? And would you say that guns are expensive? Because that's the reason. That's the reason most people that I know don't have a gun. Guns are expensive.
Okay.
Did Donald Trump encourage violence at his rallies?
You can't say.
Snopes.com. I pretty much trust Snopes. True.
You can't use Snopes. If you want to use
Snopes.
If you want to use Snopes, I can pull up the greatest example that
I'd like to punch him in the face. Is one direct quote. I remember seeing that definitely.
He said he would like to punch you in the face.
I would like to punch this protester in the face. I would like to punch him in the face is a direct Donald Trump quote.
I'm really important in the chat. He's pretty big.
In the face.
Pocahontas, thank you for the follow.
Really doesn't
Johnny
trust
Wicked.
Snopes, of course.
Ask him which fact-checking website he's okay with.
Fact-checking websites are there is none. It
They're
doesn't
biased.
exist.
Okay, how are we gonna have a debate and a conversation if we can't even trust that we're okay with information that comes from the internet? You and I are currently going back and forth on things that are supposedly facts, but if you're going to say that everything that I come up with is not a fact because it's all
just look at the evidence.
Sort of
don't look at like somebody's interpretation of the
government
shit.
shadow agency that's running the internet, well then I don't think that we can really have a conversation.
Well, okay, so Snopes is left-wing propaganda. If you want a good example, look at my stream right now. I pulled up an example. Totally discredit Snopes as a fact-checking organization. Let me know when you're looking at the stream.
Give me 1 second.
Hey, would you bring me some coffee?
You guys remember that episode of South Park where they're like, they get into WoW and they like
yeah.
have the bedpan?
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
man, man.
Heart of the Party is here. What's up, Heart of the Party? Good to see you. So this is what post-truth looks like. Memref, you are not lying, my dude. I don't know this bloke. Welcome to chat. 25 Aces, also welcome to chat. Spoon License, welcome to chat. Romsey, welcome to chat.
Ramsey's one of mine, but don't worry, he's a good fella.
Gotcha. Eat a coop. Eat a coop.
Yeah, like if any of my followers are being dicks to you, let me know because I absolutely do not condone that.
I got you, my dude.
And for what it's worth, it seems like if any of your viewers have checked out my stream, I'm not really getting I'm not getting any really disrespect. So you have good viewers too, it seems. Or maybe they're just not coming over here.
I've seen Out Loud. Out Loud's a real good guy. I like pretty much everybody who's in my core circle of viewers is a really good person, and I'm pretty proud of that.
You definitely have better viewers than others I've dealt with.
Yeah, I'm not really. It's because a lot of my viewers have somewhat opposing views to me. Like, not all of them, obviously, but, you know, there's a pretty good portion of my viewers that I do actively disagree with, and some of my mods, too, you know?
Yeah, I get a lot of, like, communists in here. I get a lot of socialists. I got, what was it called? There's this ideology where people believe in, like, human beings fusing with machines. It was called, like, I think transhumanism or something like that.
Oh, yeah, transhumanism. It's pretty wild, yeah.
So
I might have to do some Googling.
Are you looking at the stream?
I'm pulling up your stream real quick, 1 second.
We might get some echoes going on
There we
here
go, I got
for a
you.
minute.
Okay, so this is Snopes. Oh, actually, no, this is PolitiFact. So PolitiFact, it goes in the same basket as Snopes. These are just like left-wing. These are just sources of left-wing propaganda. But, okay, so the quote here, Donald Trump said, in quotes, in the second quarter of this year, the United States economy grew at the amazing rate of 4.1%. What was PolitiFact's response to this? Strong, but not amazing. Like, are you fucking serious? Like these are viable words. But this just goes to show that, like, clearly there is an agenda here. And then another one that came to mind was MSNBC, and they had their own fact checking during the 2016 election season. So the claim is, and this is real, by the way, the claim was that Trump.
It's not objective, though.
In quotes, I don't necessarily. Her email server.
I mean, I buy into the idea that they're trying to skew or like could be perceived.
She did not use a corrosive chemical. This is completely fucking like the only way that this can be considered a fact check is if you're totally 100% biased. So really what you need to
really
do when you go to
objective,
the fact checks
right?
is you need to fact check the fact check. Because many times what you'll see is the way that they arrive to their conclusions is totally dishonest, but they find a way to twist reality to end up with the desired result. So never, but here's why it's so effective, and here's why I call it problem. Because what 99% of people will do is they'll go to PolitiFact, they'll read the headline, they'll scroll down, let's see, they called it true or false. Oh, they called it false, Trump's lying. And they won't read the article. And this is also proven, by the way, that people don't read articles on the internet. So that's why I call it propaganda. This isn't a conspiracy theory. Like these are politically driven websites. These are not neutral sources for information.
Yeah, Awesome Jossum is saying you aren't discussing the quote that he brought up earlier, that I brought up earlier, and I have to agree with that. Daydaldum, I'm sorry that I'm butchering your name. In 2012, Blank reviewed a sample of Snopes' responses to political rumors regarding George W. Bush, Sarah Palin, and Barack Obama, and found them to be free from bias in all cases. Critics of the site have made the false claim that the website is funded by billionaire philanthropist George Soros, which has been debunked many times, as they are funded through an advertising and donations in which they disclose.
Oh,
is
that's
Soros paying for any of those ads?
Person in your chat who believes that to be evidence.
Well, it's obviously copy-pasted from somewhere because Dade Alden doesn't type like that. So let me copy-paste that real quick and put it into Google, and then we'll see who said
Lafia
it. Or
says
Dade Alden could just give
yes
me the
after
link.
eugenics.
It's from factcheck.org.
There's a lot of pseudoscience. The actual liberals in general
so you had
are
one
a
fake
joke
fact checker
to
fact
real
checking another
scientists
fact checker,
and
and that's
governments
beautiful.
worldwide.
Like I said, if you want to know the truth, you have to fact check yourself what the fact check says.
Right.
Which is why I told you initially that I didn't even go to those sites initially.
That's what I'm saying,
told you
exactly.
That I was watching videos.
Watch
of
the
Donald
fucking
Trump doing
video
these things.
from
and when I brought
start
up
to
a direct
end,
quote,
and then also get
you
like
said that
like
none
if
of
somebody's
that was even
having a
true,
fight
and you
and he
started
says
talking about a separate
defend
website
yourself,
from
you
where I
need to
got
have
the
a
quote.
local
No, what I did was I
you know,
provided context for the quote.
proof
I know
that
exactly
the fight
what you're
actually
referring
exists.
to. What Donald Trump was doing was he was instructing his supporters to defend themselves. He said, defend yourself and I'll cover the legal fees. That's exactly, so I'm paraphrasing. That is essentially the spirit of what he said. He wasn't telling people to just beat up people, you know, for like, this is the thing. It's just pure dishonesty. But what does the average Democrat believe? They believe what you just said. Another good example of what Democrats believe about Donald Trump is they believe that Donald Trump was mocking a handicapped reporter. This is also completely false. If you want, I can show you video evidence that is completely false because there's evidence that exists that shows that this was a gesture that like he used this gesture many times throughout his campaign to mock different people. He did it to mock Ted Cruz. He did it to mock like the same exact thing where he went whoa, and like he like bent his hands like in a spastic type way. And the media knows this, of course. But they are driving a narrative. So what do? They lie because they know that people are not going to verify the facts for themselves. And actually,
So when
That doesn't
when the election
cleanse
was
him
going
from
on,
that,
I
though.
was watching pretty much everything that Donald Trump was doing because it was a horrifying train wreck.
You were watching what the media was
And
presenting to you, though.
I had never seen Donald Trump use that gesture for anyone else.
I'll pull up the video right now because I think this one's important. Here, this is it.
Hold on. Go on your video. Hold on. Where are you? Oh, there you are.
Let me get the full shit.
All right, there's a fucking ad
Baby.
Damn it, Twitch. Alrighty. Now, play it if you don't mind.
Okay, it's a minute long.
Shit.
Tomorrow, and you can help. Because, you know, the banks now, they can't do anything. They're run by the regulators. In all fairness to the banks, they're run by the regulators. When you see the president of the bank, I mentioned the word regulator. These guys come in, they run the banks. And I watched a general recently on television, and they said to him, "What do you think about ISIS?" Oh, I heard Ted's a good
that's
debater.
not even the
I said
same
he is a
gesture.
good debater, but he can't talk, okay? Bad talker. He's a good debater, bad talker. So he's over here. They asked him about waterboarding. They said, "Senator Cruz, what do you think of waterboarding?" I don't want to talk about it. You know, he didn't want to talk about waterboarding because
That's not the same gesture either.
I'm saying to myself, they're chopping off heads. He doesn't want to talk about waterboarding. A couple of good paragraphs. And talking about northern New Jersey draws the prober's eye. Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like,
That's actually very similar, yeah.
That's what I said. This
Well,
is
no,
14
that's the
years
one.
ago. They didn't do a retraction. 14 years ago, they didn't.
That's the actual one. So like what you can see.
Okay, so
this
that's
is something,
the only one that he did that even looked like what I was familiar with. So that kind of proves my point.
No, that's the one you know because that's the only one you saw. That was the most exaggerated one, but there is a very clear similarity between all four of those instances. He was going, right? He made that same exact sound, and he shook his hands in the same exact way.
I don't know.
No, he didn't shake his hands in the same exact way. He definitely didn't.
No,
Well, right.
I tend to
the
agree
last
with
time
her
is
on this
by
one.
far the most exaggerated, without question. But to deny that there is a similar gesture being made here on multiple occasions, not to mention it starts with the right, and a shaking of the hands and the arms. So I mean, if that wasn't convincing to you, then I don't know what to say. But
It wasn't convincing to me at all, no.
okay, so then
Because
you're just,
none of the previous ones looked like what he did.
they
in
did.
the one that we
they
were
weren't
talking
as
about.
they weren't as animated for sure. Like that, I will give you. They weren't as animated, but
He very
And we
specifically
get some of these.
cocked his hands like this in a gesture that is similar to that of someone who is making fun of a person with a disability.
look at this. Look at this. Look, I'm playing it over and over again. You're telling me that this isn't the same exact thing? He made the same exact noise. I'm playing this over and over again. Look at the way he's shaking his hand. He's not talking about a person with a disability here. I mean, honestly, if you don't think that's the same thing, then that's just how powerful bias is. You see, I'm playing this over and over and over again. You're telling me that this is not the same thing. Like, he didn't use both arms here, so it's not the same thing?
Maybe.
He's not doing what he did in the last clip. He's just not. I don't know what to say to you, man.
Okay, it's not a one-to-one comparison, but I mean, if you don't think...
It's not a fucking dance move, I suppose.
Oh, God, okay. What am I going to do? I mean, you see what you see. Okay, but actually, you know what? This all reminded me of something that was actually related to what Trump said, and also kind of related to, like, you know, the MGTOW stuff we were talking about before. And I know you will disagree with me on this, so it's probably a good thing to bring up. But when Donald Trump mentioned grabbing women by the pussy,
Are you about to defend Mr. Trump's grabbing people by the P word?
absolutely, and I'll tell you why. Because yesterday, 2 days ago, we were talking about, you know, hyperbole and leftists taking hyperbole literally. Okay, so when Donald Trump made that statement, he was not saying he literally grabs women by the P word. That is not what he was saying. This is, of course, how it was reported by the media, because the media lies and hates Donald Trump. But what he was saying, and this is an absolute fact,
You would expect
and
a lot
any
of-
leftist
a
who
lot
denies this
more,
is they're just lying to themselves. What he was
sexual
saying is,
assault
when you have
allegations.
status, when you have wealth, when you have power, it is as if you can figuratively grab women by the P word. He wasn't saying that he just walks up to women and he grabs their reproductive organ. This is insane. But just like you weren't seeing that hand gesture being the same thing.
My
you're just,
dude,
yes.
even if he doesn't literally do it, can you not agree that it's gross to talk about it in such a way?
Yeah, but he's not like
I
openly.
think that he was talking the way men do in private.
So you say that kind of thing in private.
Men speak they call it locker room talk. It's a thing. It exists. This is how men speak.
That's a right-wing talking point that you are saying word for word.
But that's true, though.
You're accusing me of being influenced by bias from my quote-unquote side of the fence, and then you're using literal talking points that have been just absolutely bowled over time and time again by men who don't want to be associated, powerful men who don't want to be associated with the kind of people who say that kind of disgusting thing, whether it's hyperbole or not.
Any man.
And you're gonna sit here and tell me that it's okay because you're the kind of man who does that too?
Any man who tells you that they don't speak that way is lying to you.
Any man who says that they don't
I think that's hyperbolic.
That you should be able to
that's a
speak
hyperbolic
in such a
statement.
disgusting
It's
way
funny that
about
we're talking about hyperbole.
Lying to me.
Do you disagree with the statement?
Everybody on the news.
Yes, they're lying to you.
All these people just lying all the time.
Yes,
their genuine disgust is acting.
It is because they just want to justify their hatred of somebody that they ideologically disagree with. So they view video evidence.
You are a person who not only believes that women cannot be friends with men, but that it is okay for men to talk about.
Let's play Smash or Pass on stream
in a way that is similar to rape.
Oh my
Saints Resolve,
God.
welcome to the chat. Welcome for the follow. I said talk about women in a way that is similar to rape. Even if you're not absolutely raping them, that is talking about women
Sexual
in a way that is
assault.
similar to rape.
I think that
if it happened,
if you go up to somebody and you say, I have a lot of money, and you randomly grab them by their genitals, that is rape.
Do you think that's what Donald Trump does?
I said that he is talking in a similar fashion to rape.
Okay, so like how celebrities like how in like the 70s and the 80s, like all like these these hair bands, like, and all these rock bands,
it's gonna bring up like the 15-year-old groupies.
Mostly groupies like were women who would throw themselves at these men because
that's not what he's talking about.
Oh, that's exactly what he's talking. That is exactly what he's talking about. That is exactly the whole point of this. That he's saying that when you are a powerful person, when you have celebrity status, women throw themselves at you. It's almost as if you can grab them by the blank. That is exactly what he's saying. 100%. Leftists will deny this because they hate the man, and they're just going to warp reality to fit their own biases.
I don't hate him. I think he's stupid, and I feel sorry for him, but I don't hate him.
I think he's stupid too.
I think he's a dumbass,
I agree
but I
with
don't
you.
hate him.
Well,
but he's talking about raping women.
It is figurative speech. He has never once in his life just walked up to a woman, I assume, and grabbed her by her private parts.
They would have
because you can read accounts of women being treated that way by him.
Oh, come.
And I assume you're not going to believe that either. But I think that we're at a good spot today where we can kind of slow down, and I'm gonna go ahead and kill this really quick because I am not sure what to say. I'm really just not sure what to say. Okay?
That's fine.
That's fine. Okay, so we have established that Red Pill Gaming has very different views from me and believes that men talk and speak to one another in a very different way from what my men in my life have led me to believe, and apparently all of those men are lying to me.
They want you to view them favorably.
Maybe they are.
They want you to view them favorably.
Maybe they're all lying, and maybe it's all a leftist conspiracy.
They want you to view them favorably, so they're not going to tell you what.
Also, most men are not going to be in a position where they would say, "It's like you can grab them by the pussy."
Vagina, right?
No, that's not what I said. But like if
it is what you said.
No, that's not what I said. What I said is guys talk the way guys do among each other because they know that they can trust each other to keep this, locker room talk, because I don't know what other term to use to describe it.
I was fucking this thought the other day.
Obviously don't want this getting
That's
out because
like,
it's not going to sound very good.
That whole
Shane O saying he projects a lot. I do think that you're projecting a whole hell of a lot, dude. I gotta say.
I mean, there's definitely a degree of projection here, but it's also like. There's also some truth to it.
All right, my dude. I'm gonna get out of here because I'm frankly at odds with how I should view you as a person. I'm considering being going back on giving you a platform just because I don't believe in rapists having a platform, and I don't believe in people who
Are you calling him a
condone
rapist? No.
rape culture having a platform. But I am
don't know, man.
definitely
You're virtue signaling.
Definitely.
You're virtue signaling, and that's fine. This is what White Nervosa did too.
virtue signaling.
You're
What
virtue
is that?
signaling.
What is that?
So basically, what you're doing is you're just taking so what you're doing is you want to be viewed as a virtuous person, right? To your chat right now. So what you're doing is you're saying that I am lesser than you. You are saying that I'm an immoral human being and you are better than me, and because you are so much better than me, that you have to end this conversation. So now you're gonna look like a hero.
No,
That's exactly
I
what's
said
happening.
It's
unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Well, you're saying that you're morally superior to me. You're saying that you can't.
I am literally not saying that. I am saying that.
Well, you're not literally saying it, but implicitly, this is what you're doing.
Rape culture I condone a lot of weird shit. I condone fucking educating gorillas.
You called me a rapist.
You might think that makes me a bad person, and if you do, cut me off. Don't give me a platform.
I'm not a leftist. I don't care about deplatforming people. I'm always available to have conversations like this. I don't believe in censorship, but some people can't handle it, and that's fine. But don't slander me on the way out. Like we've had a respectful demeanor this entire time, and now you're gonna call me a rapist and say, "Oh, I can't talk to a rapist anymore." Like I really don't appreciate that.
I didn't call you a rapist.
You did. We can play the VOD. I'm sure somebody will clip it.
I said. And I will tell
People
you very
who condone
specifically what I
rape
said
culture.
so that nobody has
So
any questions.
technically not, but
I said I don't believe
if you believe in
giving
promoting
people
rape
who
culture,
condone
therefore you're a
rape
rapist. Is
culture
basically
a
what
platform.
you.
Do you know what rape culture is, Red?
Who are you referring to? Who's this person that you're referring to?
Who is this person that I'm referring to?
You're talking about me.
I said that I was questioning your morals and that I don't believe in giving people who condone rape culture a platform.
Right, so you're
Okay.
saying that
Specifically,
he
okay.
condones
I
rape
think
culture.
it's unfortunate that this is the way it had to end, but that's your choice, and that's fine, I guess.
If you want to keep talking, and you want to like defend yourself or whatever, I'm not even saying that you have anything to defend, but I am a little frustrated that you, a person who seems to have a pretty good head on your shoulders, you just make a lot of questionable decisions to me. You seem to have a pretty good head on your shoulders, and yet you are condoning people saying that it's okay to commit a physically aggressive sexual act against a woman. You don't want me to use the word rape?
No, he's not condoning that though. He's not
You don't want me to
condoning
use the word
that.
rape? That's fine. You are condoning people talking about sexually violent acts
You can't draw the two
in
together.
a joking way.
I'm
And
not
to
doing that.
me-
That's your interpretation,
to
unfortunately.
To me, that is questionable. So you're not condoning it?
I am explaining the statement that he made, and I'm
Are
saying that
you
the statement.
condoning it?
I personally don't see anything wrong with men being men.
Are you condoning it?
I will condone men being men, absolutely.
Are you condoning it?
Condoning what? Guys being guys?
Condoning sexually violent verboseness.
I disagree with your characterization of like if if that's yes I do, but I disagree that is what he said. It's sexually violent. He was just making a speech that when you have celebrity status, women throw themselves at you. He was using colorful language. That's all I'm saying. That isn't condoning raping. This is insane. Like the logical leap you're making here is, but this is what the left does all the time. Like this is my life story.
I'm not the left. My name is Johnny. I like guns and I like people having rights. Like, I'm
your
not
stream said
some
debate
kind
a
of
leftist.
conspiracy theorist, and I'm not a conspiracy myself.
Fair point.
Talk to me like I'm
Fair
Johnny,
point.
my dude.
Trying
Okay?
to do
You're
that, but you
red.
just
I
called
don't
me a
really know
rapist.
your name or whatever, but you're red, And I'm telling you that I have problems with what you said, and that I'm getting a little bit frustrated, so I wanted to get off because it's been 3 hours.
I can't be fired,
That's fine.
motherfuckers,
Okay,
because
and
I
then
work
you
for
were like,
myself,
and
so
then
I
you
can kind of
started
say whatever the
acting
fuck
like I had
want.
said something wrong. So I wanted you to tell me what I said wrong.
You called me a rapist, but okay, fine. So
No, I didn't. Do not mischaracterize me. Do not. We will go back and we will watch the VOD, and I will clip it and I will send it to you. I did not call you a rapist.
okay, well, if you ever want to talk to a rapist again, then I would enjoy having another conversation. But I understand if you don't want a platform.
Why are you being so weird about this, dude? I asked you if you condoned what Donald Trump said. I asked you literally like 5 times. And you're just saying over and over again that I called you a rapist.
I think the implication was clear, but
No. I said I don't believe in platforming people who condone rape culture. I didn't say that you did, but I was saying that I was questioning myself.
okay.
Okay?
She has to
Yep.
virtue signal to her
Please
audience
don't
that she would prefer
mischaracterize me.
not
Please
to
do not put words in my mouth. I don't deal well with that.
platform a rapist.
Because I like
my chat
privilege.
thinks you called me a rapist, so I'm just telling you what my chat
Your
thinks.
chat is on your side. My chat is gonna tell me what the fuck is up because I surround myself with people who aren't yes men.
Okay.
That's why I have such a good community.
Infidel,
That's why I have
just
such
own
a good
it and
chat,
say
is
most guys
because
talk the same
I don't
way.
surround myself
I mean,
with yes men.
I don't
You can
really
ask
talk
anybody.
that way, but I don't really.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Well,
25
I guess I'm not in the
aces.
same
Please
culture.
do.
I could see it happening.
25
Right? I've seen it
aces.
around me,
Go
so I know
back
what he's
and
talking
check.
talking
I
about.
said I don't condone platforming people who condone rape culture. Now, and then I asked him if he condoned it.
no, I didn't condone it. I said I condone men being men and speaking the way that men do. And
Yeah, you said you condone something that is like literal gibberish. Like I don't even know what men being men is supposed to be.
like locker room talk, like the way
Infidel,
men speak about
not you and
women
me,
behind closed doors, the same
maybe,
way women
but
speak
I've
about
seen
men.
it
Like, this is
around.
the
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
This is not something
like,
only men
that's not
participate
like
in.
how
Women do
I
the
like
same
to
thing, of
conduct
course,
myself. But I've seen
When was
other
the
guys
last
that
time
kind of act in that same
When was
vein,
the last
so I
time you
understand
heard
what he's
anybody
saying
saying
when he's talking
behind
about
closed
locker
doors
room,
that it was okay
room
to
talk,
just go
that
up
it
and
is
grab
it
people by the
really is
genitalia?
an actual
Who
thing,
with a
right?
normal mind talks like that?
It wasn't. Oh my gosh. Okay, it wasn't. He wasn't literally talking. That like this is the disconnect. Is
I realized that. That's why I didn't say rape. I said rape culture. That's where you're getting it wrong.
Maybe if I was
because
a rock
you don't
star,
really
I would
know
talk.
what rape culture
I would
is.
have that same conversation, right?
it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But okay,
That's
let's
the
say
other
that.
thing
How
that we
about
need
that'll
to
be
consider.
the next one?
The next one's gonna be whether or not rape culture exists. I can definitely say
Rape culture.
that's what
All right.
the next conversation is gonna be. Whether or not rape culture exists, because that's gonna be a good one.
Should be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Alrighty. Yeah, as I said before, it's been 3 hours, and I had a problem with something that you said. So I decided
else
to,
do we
instead of
have?
getting upset, which I ended up doing, get off the chat.
That's fine.
Okay?
Should
Yep.
we do?
Brooksy, thank you so much. Water O'Clock, thank you so much. Man, this has been something. Okay. Alright, Chads and Chadlets and motherfucking Stacy's and what do you call the other ones?
Incels.
I know it's incels, but there's like a roasties. Roasty. That's it. Female incels. Well, there is no such thing
No,
as a female incel.
female
according to male
incels are not
incels,
roasties.
because,
Roasties are
you
women
know,
that have been
reasons.
used up. That's why they're
But,
called roasties,
roasties
because
and
their
chadlets,
region looks like roast beef. Is
femmes
the idea?
and feminazis and everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
No shout out for Q-Box?
All right. So can I make a closing
man.
statement and then you can just wrap it up and then we'll call it a stream.
Absolutely.
Okay, so once again, besides the part at the end, I enjoyed the conversation. I hope to have more conversations with you since you seem to be one of the few people on Twitch who are capable of having conversations like these. I know it's not easy to do what you're doing, so like I have a lot of respect for that. Anybody who's in my channel right now, I would appreciate if you would go to her channel and if you would give her a follow because she's been like a really good sport. She's been an awesome sport and just let me know when you want to do the next one, and we can do it.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate you being patient with me and me being patient with you and everything like that. I really do think that conversations like this are extremely important in today's day and age. So I'm gonna leave this call, man, and then I'm gonna wrap it up on my stream.
Infidel says,
you.
you think the
Thank you.
I
Chads
really do
she
mean that.
dated
Take it.
behave
Alright, have a good
themselves
one. You too.
when not around women? Depends on what you mean by behave themselves.
Alrighty, man. What to say?
What's your
What to
definition
say?
of behaving as a
This stream was based in red pills.
Chad in
No arguments here. No arguments here. We are in full agreement on that one.
I think it's femoids or femoids.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you
It's
so
like,
much
where do you
for the
begin?
apology,
Holy
guys.
crap.
I really do
Claim
appreciate
book.
I'm
it.
gonna
This
put
has
the
been
playlist back on.
a really eye-opening stream. You won. It was interesting. I agree.
I'm not hearing anything.
Now,
Why am I not hearing anything? What's
if
going
you
on with
want
that?
to give me a
I
follow,
really don't think she
that's
dates
perfectly
Chads though,
wonderful.
because she
if
was
you would
talking
like
about
to give me a
like
sub,
That's really weird.
being in
and
an
use
open
the
relationship
true
and
symbol of Americana, the Super Jesus,
and her
email,
boyfriend
which
being
Q
gay
Bucks
and
just
so
put
on.
in
Somebody's
the
phone got
chat,
skipped. I'm sorry about that.
then please do.
I don't think she dates
It's
Chads.
Let me know if
very
the
To be
music's
important
too
honest,
to me
loud
that you
because,
do, because
you know.
once we get enough subs and once we get enough
can never really tell.
revenue running through this stream.
All right, guys. What
Thank you
everybody
so much,
think?
Brooksy, for using the
What did you
Super
guys
Jesus
think?
emote.
Did I?
Once we get
do
enough
well?
subs and once we get enough revenue running through this stream, we're going to be
Did you guys
Alright.
enjoy the
using these
conversation?
hats.
she
And
said
that's
it
a
herself.
promise. That
They
is a
didn't
swear
build
to
a
God
personality
on
and
my
they
part.
treated
enjoying
people
the
like crap.
content,
So if you think
just,
this hat is cool
you know
as
what to
fuck
do.
and you want it for
Smash
cheap,
that follow button.
then give me a sub.
Smash that follow. This is
Dimples,
Infidel, I
thank you
appreciate
so
you hanging
much.
around. We're gonna do
Rob the God,
I'm
I'll
gonna,
mail you
I'm
this
gonna give
hat
you a little
as soon
bonus.
as we get enough
I'm
subs.
gonna send you a free
I
game.
promise.
It's a Steam code.
Promise you.
Are you on
I
Steam?
will.
Just double checking.
Okay, anybody
Loon
who's here from the
Marie,
Johnny
hi
stream,
from Red
welcome,
Pill
guys.
Stream. Good to have you, dude.
Thank you for
Socialist becoming a
coming here.
capitalist.
Appreciate
I'm a
that,
socialist
you know.
and a
Probably
capitalist.
disagree
I
with
already
me
told you guys
completely,
that.
but the fact that you're here is awesome. So appreciate
Awesome.
She
If you wanna see
specifically
more
said a pro
content like
football
this,
player,
then
I
please
believe?
give me a follow.
I guess I didn't
She's
hear
not a
it.
great
Hanky.
advocate for
Okay, bro.
liberals.
I'm
Promise.
gonna throw
My
you
dude.
Obviously,
a
like, you know,
thingy majig.
If you
I'm gonna
want
throw
to
you
see
a
more
Steam
content
code.
like this, then come back.
like okay,
I
so
just
like,
want you
is
to
she
I'll probably
come
get you
back.
after the stream, but
Bomb
I'll
me.
definitely throw you one. I
My
appreciate
current
you
hat
stopping
says,
in and
warning,
hanging
your
out.
actions are
a
being
left-wing pundit
recorded.
could?
It's my
Probably not. I don't think I do that either.
one
from
of my favorite
side.
pieces of clothing
But,
right now.
You know, as far as
Blue Marine, thank you so much.
you know,
The
her
Brishy, did you see
understanding
the
of
whisper I
things
sent you? I think
and,
it's
like,
quite
what she
important.
believes is
I will
happening
definitely
in
be
our
reading my
society.
whispers
I would say she
after
probably
the
is
stream is
representative.
over.
Like she buys mainstream narratives.
Alrighty, you guys,
Hook, line, and sinker.
give me a follow,
So
give me
I
a
would say in that
sub,
regard,
and
she is like she's
We're gonna
an
drop
skeptic.
out. We're gonna hang
I
out
think-
with
I think
Red
it's
Pill
healthy
for a
to
little
have
bit. I might
you know, a reasonable
get
amount of skepticism. She has no
some
skepticism. I think a lot of leftists
ARAM
put way
going.
too
What do we
much
got
faith
here?
in these institutions because they want to believe that these institutions would never do wrong. I think the reality is that human beings are corrupt, you know? We're just along for the ride.
Let's see here.
And then somebody like me comes along, you know, dropping truths, dropping red pills, and I'm the bad guy. But hey, I mean, someone's got to be the villain, so if that's what it takes. And by the way, thank you
Let's
so
see
much to
here.
everybody who followed me. I'm going to read through some names here. Thank you, Flokuna, Discord Orb,
AI
Hammer,
Infidel.
Mickey Burger,
Throw me another thing in chat so I
Social
can just
Justice
click on your
Warrior,
name here.
25 Aces, Spoon License, White Fat. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate the support, the follows. Means a lot. Cressard says that was amazing. Hey, if I get approval from Cressard9, then it's honestly all I really need. Remember when the lady said Red Pill could be a model? I mean, hey, I'll take the compliment. No one's ever said that to me before. I will take the compliment, though. I mean, you know, with the healthy amount of Photoshop, I think anybody could be a model.
Right, Facetune.
The hat is too loud, man. I'm sorry you don't like it, but it's just, this is a part of the stream. Nate says she was insufferable. LA Free Clinic says, "You did very
Yeah,
well.
if you want to
Like,
throw me
we're
a,
arguing
or
as
I
a
think I can do it
progressive.
too,
Wow,
can
man, that is it's not something I've
up,
ever heard in my
whisper.
life. So
There
the
we
fact
go.
that you thought that, pretty
There you go,
interesting
bro.
to me.
enjoy. I'm not sure what the game
that,
is. I just bought a bunch of random keys
myself.
for
Say,
like
I think I'm this or I think I'm
$50
that. But
or something along those
I think
lines.
people tend to be surprised by some of the things that I say.
They're
And I try to be as fair as
supposedly
possible, too.
guaranteed
Like,
AAA
if
games.
I make an
so
example
let me
about
know
something that's occurring
what it
on
turns
the
out
left.
to be.
I try to make a counterexample
bonus.
that exists on the right to show that I'm being fair. So for example, I'm talking about Donald Trump, talking about illegals, talking about drugs and crime, right? I'm bringing up that example to show that I acknowledge that this exists on both sides. And once again, I'm not trying to like, I'm this enlightened centrist, but I do think it's important to like try to be fair when possible. Because otherwise, you know what it is? If you're not fair, then people don't take you seriously. Because I know, like I consume a lot of political media, obviously, and I know what I think of somebody who is clearly biased. And don't get me wrong, that's not me saying that I'm not biased. Obviously, I have my biases. That's undeniable. But if you never ever try to be fair, people don't take you seriously. So I think the only way to be taken seriously is if you try to be as fair as possible.
What do we got here? LA Free Clinic.
Relsex says her female nature starts to come out, and
you're not arguing as a conservative, as far as I can tell. You're arguing as a skeptic,
really
critical thinker, summoning Machiavelli, etc. That's extremely uncommon among Trump supporters.
No, but
You're
it seemed like
the
she was
unicorn.
like,
Yeah,
as I said,
sense
like,
that as
I
well.
pulled her out because I was pissed that she would do that because I didn't think she was like that. But it's like she was like virtue signaling at the end, and this is exactly what White Nervosa did to me. White Nervosa said like, "Oh, I'm not going to platform somebody who supports concentration camps." It's like, what the fuck? Like, is that what you think I said? And anybody who's paying, like, attention at all to my stream and is listening to what I'm saying, like, she made just like this outrageous logical leap saying like, oh, are you condoning rape culture? What? Am I condoning women being raped or rape culture, excuse me? No. But I'm acknowledging the way men speak in private. It's really that simple. And men do this, women do this. Now, by the way, anyone who's in my Discord, any regular followers, if you want to add a song to the queue, go to my Discord, go to the general channel, and you'll see
Let's get in the fight.
link, and you'll see a code, and you can add music to the queue. So feel free to do that. If you're a new viewer, then you don't get access to that. Sorry, I need to know you first. I need to know that you're not like a troll first.
Right.
25 Aces says, I just got kicked from her chat because I said I'd clip her calling you a rapist. Well, I think two of my viewers, I see two clips that were made around that time, so I think my viewers probably covered that. I hope they did.
I don't think she said
Nice
you're
song.
a rapist.
Holy goof. Vin,
Did she?
Vin, was this you,
I don't
my
know.
man?
Maybe we should review the clips. I don't remember her saying that.
This was you, wasn't it? My dude's dropping tunes tonight. Hey, you're showing me music. You're showing me new tunes. I like that. Space Cobbler says, you coped well with her emotional reasoning and insults. Yeah, and she kept, like, here's the thing, like, I'm not going to disparage, because that's just not, she doesn't deserve that. Some people I would disparage the fuck out of them. Her, honestly, she was respectable to me. Other than calling me a rapist at the end. But
Other than
overall,
calling you a rapist.
respectful.
I don't know. I need proof.
But, like, every single example she had was, oh, but my friend's this, and oh, but my grandma did this, and oh, but, like, every single example of hers was an anecdote. Don't get me wrong, like, I think, anecdotes are fine within reason, but you can't use an anecdote as a counterpoint to an argument. Like, when I'm saying, generally speaking, this is true, every single time I say that, her response is, oh, but I know somebody where that isn't true. And, like, I don't want to be mean and, like, pummel her for that, but it's like, that is not how argument works. This isn't how, like, logic works, Mitch says she was a lot less rude than most Twitch leftists, for sure. So far, she's been the most amenable person I've had a discussion with on the left. maybe others could take a lesson from her, because you know what it is? All of, like, the dudes, like, they think it's their duty to, like, own the Nazi.
White Knight,
So they gotta come out here and beat their chest and be like, yeah, I'm gonna own this fucking Nazi on the internet. You know, so like they come at me with this aggression, and I guess, you know, with her it wasn't like that. So that's nice. Right, she wasn't advocating for political violence, so that's nice for a change too.
She was advocating for
Says,
deplatforming in a way, though.
Issues, she has an
I don't know.
extremely limited perspective.
I'm not with that
ignorance
at
to
all,
history
ever.
And psychology and sociology. Yeah, I mean, I just think that people don't want to believe that the Disney narratives, like the utopian, you know, view of the world, isn't exactly accurate.
I think Zizek, what was that?
Whatever.
What was that movie we were watching last night with Hassan?
Nick says, I think
it's a pervert's guide to. What is it? I gotta Google that now.
She made a point here and there, but it was 90% of the time anecdotal, whereas you provided sources.
Pervert's Guide to Ideology kind of talks this. Oh shit. Are we getting fucked?
Right, like that's the thing. It's like, okay, like how many times do I need to explain this? And like you're still saying, like, are you listening? Are you understanding what I'm saying? But honestly, like I think that this is like the response that people have been programmed to have. You know, like people have been programmed that Donald Trump said this, and anybody who supports the thing that Donald Trump, must be responded to in this way. You know, and also there is social reward in responding in this way, because if you respond to this
Infidel,
way, you get offended, right?
Yeah, thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it.
Person.
Really good conversation.
Is you are elevating
we'll probably be doing the same thing tomorrow, so if you want to stop by.
I love how the entire... Okay, so now I gotta change it to post-show. How is she a model, is my question. In England, models have to be attractive. No, let's not be mean, guys. You know, like, let's be
Dick
respectful.
Move.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just not gonna respond. Best they don't respond. So much red. Amen, brother. Amen. His favorite game character is Mario. Well, speaking of Mario, that reminds me of another pair of glasses that I have that I could wear. Drugs per the drugs. Not here in this chat. Unless you want to get high on facts and logic, then you've come to the right place. Or red pills. We are all high on red pills at the moment. You're not arguing as a conservative, as far as I can tell. You're arguing as exactly, man, as a skeptic, critical thinker, summoning Niccolo Machiavelli. That's a compliment. That is a compliment. That is extremely uncommon among Trump supporters. You're the unicorn. I honestly do think, like, I don't want to counter single here or act like, oh yeah, I'm the best, smartest. Like, no, I don't think it's true, but I definitely, you see that same hive mind mentality on the right as well, for sure. This isn't something that's exclusive to the left. I think people, unfortunately, feel obligated to, like, toe the party line. And I think, like, that's, you just have to, like, be honest with yourself. Like, what are your honest opinions? You know, like, because, you know, when I was younger, I was a lot more Republican. You know, like, I had views and didn't even know why I had them. I just knew, like, that this is the view you're supposed to have. You know, like, do you support...
It's good that he can admit that, too.
Even though I really...
That's why I really enjoy this guy, because he can admit that it comes from both sides,
I'm not saying,
right?
by the way, anybody who supports Israel...
Exactly, like he said, he's not towing
who,
the party line
like,
just for the fact of
he genuinely, if he
joining
Israel,
the club.
He supports Israel. Like, he's not just saying it. But then there's other people who are like, oh yeah, Israel's our greatest ally. And it's like, why? And they don't know. They just know that this is a
get
line
off my shit,
that,
bro.
that
Get
the
off my
Republican
shit.
Party is pushing for some strange reason. Well, because they benefit somehow. But then the weirdest thing about that is Jewish people don't vote Republican. So this is where it's just confusing. Like, the party supports Israel, but the Jews don't vote for us. So I don't exactly get that one. My main problem with leftists is the patronizing and self-righteous attitude. Yeah, for sure. Well, the thing with leftists is that they know that they're right, and they know that we're wrong. They, because that's just the programming. As I said, you go through the machine. How could you come out as anything other than? I mean, look at the number of young people who vote left of center. Are you telling me these people are receiving totally neutral, totally unbiased educations, right? And they're all naturally going to the left? Like, do people? I know if you're a leftist, I know you want to believe that, right? Because, reality as a liberal, I know it's what you want to believe. But I think the reality of the situation is people are just becoming what they're told to become. And then she's saying like, "Oh, I've never been told this. I've never been told that." Well, that's how propaganda works. That this is how
you
people
don't
are
realize
brainwashed.
you're
People
being
don't
told,
know that they're being
right?
brainwashed. You don't know that you're being brainwashed. That's what makes propaganda. That's how it works. Like you're never conscious of the fact that you're consuming propaganda. You consume it without a filter. This is why websites like PolitiFact, PolitiFact, Snopes, this is why they're so powerful and so effective. Because people, they see the word PolitiFact as a fact, and they're like, oh, well, this is PolitiFact. PolitiFact can't lie. Right? The same way people see Antifa, they say, well, anti-fascists.
They couldn't
These
possibly
people, these
be
are good people
fascist.
because they're anti-fascism, and fascism is bad. When the reality is that Antifa is just left-wing fascism. And that's not a meme, by the way. I know that sounds memey because people say that a lot, but it really is true. Like Antifa uses fascist tactics to silence dissent. This is fascism. Mitch said, "Why Nervosa just gave you a position she wanted you exactly. She gave you a position she wanted you to have, so she could hang up exactly. And that's why I was so disappointed at the end with Johnny. I was so upset because she was doing the same thing. She was doing this virtue signal. Like I'm gonna give you this position. I'm gonna virtue signal, and then this is like my out. And that was just like, whoa, like I wasn't expecting it. It kind of blindsided me a little bit, and that was why I got mad and called her out. Thank you so much for the follow. LA Free Clinic, thank you. Really, really appreciate that. Doxy says, smash or pass. Hey, listen, I don't want to condone rape culture. I don't want to condone rape culture live on stream, so I'm not going to talk about women in that way, okay? I mean, guys don't talk about women in that way anyway. I mean, guys don't play smash or pass, okay? I don't even, wait, smash or pass, what is that?
Isn't that a locker room
thing?
thing?
Pass is actually. Can somebody tell me what smash or pass is?
I think that's like hot or not, where
you
you see a picture, you say smash or pass, right?
Sounds rapey, though. I will say that. Nice, whoever put this online. Next to you, there ain't no doubt I love this land. I don't know many, and I don't get news from Fox, so I'll admit I'm out of the loop. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with admitting you're out of the loop. There's nothing wrong also, like people feel like they're obligated to have all the answers to everything. You know, like, if you don't know the answer to something, just say like, oh, I don't know. Oh, I can't comment on this. You know, like whenever there was a point of the debate where I made a statement, but then I realized I couldn't back it up in a way that would be convincing to her.
Oh,
like,
motherfucker! Damn it!
I back up. Like, just she's not gonna buy it. I don't have the evidence.
Right.
But
you can't sell it.
Crazy when I pulled up.
Don't talk yourself into the hole.
Thing. Then I was like, whoa. Like now, I'm the conspiracy theorist. Like you're denying video evidence. What else can I do at that point? If video evidence isn't compelling to you, then there wasn't the exact gesture. So did you expect him to make the same exact
like a dance move
with both hands? I mean, one thing that can't be denied is all 4 instances started with right, like that same exact sound, right, and then a gesture of the hands. Now, there's no question that the last time was by far the most animated. And is it possible that the last time was the most animated because he knew the guy was disabled? That's possible, sure.
Yeah, that was
You
my
know, but
argument too.
do I know that's why he did it? Maybe he did. It's possible. It is possible, sure. But when I see evidence of him doing that same exact motion towards other people who are not disabled, I'm more inclined to say, oh, okay, he was doing this just to mock somebody, you know, flustered, as Killer Steven said. Flustered. You once said, I completely disagree with that statement. You can argue that sort of speech is disrespectful, whether you are male or female. Is it disrespectful? I think it is. I think it's just all in good fun, though. It's just boys being boys. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. You know, you can't stop boys from being boys. And like, you just can't do it. I know you could try, you know, like through propaganda, you can make men feel guilty for doing things that men want to do. And then these are the men who say, oh, that's not true. And these are the men who have accepted that propaganda because they want to be seen as a good guy, right? Because guys think, oh, I'm a good guy, and I don't engage in these, you know, Chad-like behavior. Like, I'm not gonna be Chad. I'm gonna be the good guy. And she's gonna see that I'm the good guy. And she's gonna, you know, love me for it. She's gonna give me sex for it. Sorry, guys. It's time for a change in strategy. Okay, because clearly it's not working. Dude, she overcame acne. Please don't disparage her. I mean, that was unusual. It's like, do you know how hard I worked to become a model? I took acne medication. Oh, never mind then. Never mind then. And like, here's the thing too. It's like, I don't wanna disparage the girl. The one, well, goddamn. Yeah, she said she's a girl. Okay, I don't want to disparage the girl, but like, I'm gonna be honest too. I'm gonna be honest. I'm always going to be honest. I'm never gonna, you know, modify the way I speak just to please somebody. When she said that I have all yes men in my chat, I'm like, what? That's not true. If you come in here and you start saying racist shit trying to get me banned, you get banned instantly. If you disagree with me, I don't care. If you're being extremely aggressive, you get banned. So, it's not all yes men. Space Father says, I don't know how you had the patience to listen to all the time. Well, people seem to be enjoying it, so... She kept pretty much implying that whenever people cooperate or group together, it's a conspiracy. Yeah, so this is a term that the left uses to make people, like, reject patterns. Or to make people, deny logical conclusions. You know, so this is a term the left uses constantly. Everything we believe, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Like WikiLeaks, that's a conspiracy theory. Well, is it a conspiracy theory if the emails exist? If media and the DNC spent 2 years going after Donald Trump over Russian collusion, which never happened, right? Is it still a conspiracy theory then? Then why are there real-life consequences? Or the same thing, on one of my streams, I actually proved that there was real-life consequences from James O'Keefe's videos. You know, so many times James O'Keefe will make videos and people say, oh, they're doctored, they're edited, they're this, they're that. But then there's real life consequences. Like, people have been fired because of these videos. People have had to step down, but they've had to resign because of these videos. Now, is that to say that James O'Keefe has always been a good faith actor? Honestly, I really don't know, because I only know James O'Keefe like 2015, 2016 and onwards. I understand there was some controversy earlier in his career, so I can't comment on that one because I don't know anything about it, but I also just don't automatically accept the mainstream narrative. But then, you know what? I don't believe that narrative, because I see what the narrative is today in response to his videos, and then I see that, wait a second, if what they're saying is true, why are there real-life consequences? Why are people losing their jobs? Why are people being made to resign if the videos aren't real? That obviously doesn't make sense. And I'm just going to look at my Discord for a second, because a lot of people for hitting me up. Okay, people think that... Yeah, yeah, okay. Oh, that's amazing. I just saw that's amazing. Bennett just couldn't control himself. He had to go over to Johnny's stream. He had to disagree with me in Johnny's Discord. He just couldn't control himself. He just had to do it.
What?
That's Bennett for you. Also, she kept pretty much implying that whenever people cooperate or group together... Oh, I read that already. Her chat kept telling her to deplatform you and report your channel. This is the left. This is the left. This is who they are, you know?
I was also in that chat, and I did not advocate for
deplatforming. They want to deplatform
deplatforming.
because they cannot defeat the argument. It's that simple. If you could defeat the argument, why would you need to deplatform me? Why would you need to censor me? And guys, on the left, this is what I don't get with you guys, okay? If you deplatform me, you're not making my belief, you're not changing my mind, you're not making my beliefs disappear. Like, that's the thing, I still think what I think. You're just artificially creating this vacuum where you don't have to hear them. So if you're on the left, what you should focus on doing is changing minds. Not censorship.
Maybe
not
even your own
mind.
mind.
Censorship. As a matter of fact, yeah, well, you're changing minds, but you're actually pushing people to the right when you do that, because people are saying to themselves, this is weird. Why are they censoring all these conservatives? Why are they censoring all these Republicans, all these Trump supporters? What's going on here? You know, people who are paying attention are going to see this and they're going to say, huh, that's strange. Why is this happening? Blue Marie says she was in mostly good faith. Yeah, for sure. I would definitely say, other than the rape accusation, for sure. She'll come around when she gets older and loses her looks. Interesting thought.
How old is Johnny anyway? I think she's like, what, 24?
Possibly true. Possibly true. I mean, just the
Doesn't
idea
have
that,
all
that
that
she
many
thought that
years on
modeling
this.
and porn was hard work. You know, if you want, and you're talking about me being surrounded by
Again,
yes
that's
men,
not
if you want to
objective,
surround yourself
though.
with fucking orbiters. like if I had to, well, obviously on Twitch, like a majority of her followers and viewers are going to be male, right? And these are just beta orbiters, where they're going to tell her whatever she wants to hear. They're going to say, "Oh no, he's a sexist."
Apparently, I'm a beta orbiter.
We don't do locker room talk. Oh no, we like you for your personality. These are dishonest people. And this isn't to knock her personality, by the way. I'm not doing that. But as long as a sexual motive exists, that's not a real friendship. Sorry. You're surrounding yourself, and she's not surrounding herself, but the beta orbiter.
Do you think every guy that goes on to Twitch and like fanboys after chicks or like watches females actually believes they might have a chance at fucking this chick that's halfway across the country or halfway across the world or whatever the fuck it may be? You think that's a reality? I don't know.
Why? Because they want to be viewed favorably by the target. Yo, Mick, you're probably long gone by now, but thank you so much for hanging out. Really appreciate it. It's good to have you, as always. You're crazy if you don't think she can be sexy, though. Hate sex is real, and it's something special. I don't know who you're talking to.
Hate sex? What? It is, though. It is a real thing.
Overdosing on red pills is the cure to libtardism. Emma says he hates them both. Well, reparations.
G fucking G. Oh,
you went through the same system. You have more right-wing ideas. Well, right, because like when you're aware of propaganda, it doesn't have the same impact on you. So propaganda is effective when you don't realize that you're consuming propaganda.
Alright.
So I was made aware of it. It was clear as day throughout my entire education what was really going on. And how everybody else around me was just being brainwashed by lies, by leftist lies.
Should we do a Reddit recap, maybe?
They go to college, they get a degree, and then they think that they have the correct political opinion because they have a college degree.
Right.
It's amazing.
I'm
actually.
super
It's
smart
really
because
amazing for
somebody
people that
told
don't.
me that I'm super smart. Therefore, I'm super smart.
Nate says, I
That's
used to be
the
quite
logic.
the lefty in my teens. Growing up is great. That's a very commonly heard trope. You know, it's like young people,
Right.
they mean well. Every young person thinks that they're going to change the world. And, you know,
If you're
communism
young and
sounds
not a
great, socialism
leftist,
sounds
you don't
great.
have a heart.
It's
If
true,
you're
they do sound
old
great
and
when you
not
know nothing about them. They sound
conservative, then you don't have
when
a brain.
the horrors are hidden from you, for sure.
All right.
When she said that school teaches you how to think. She said it as if it was a good thing.
Yeah, we're gonna let this go for a minute,
This
and then I
is
think we're
this
gonna
is-
do
this is
Reddit
what makes
recap.
propaganda effective.
We'll probably cut the stream so we get clipped up of videos, and we might get some more people in, whatever. But I need some num
Professors
nums
are
and
all right in a
all that
perfect
good
world.
stuff.
That's what That's what
So
should
we're gonna
happen.
go ahead
Except
and
it
cut the
doesn't, because
stream.
professors are
Should
no
be
more
back
susceptible to bias than other
maybe
humans.
20 minutes, 30
For
minutes,
sure,
something
for
along
sure.
those lines.
And that's the thing. Like,